You have been in Jamaica for the last 4 years as British High Commissioner to Jamaica. Will you please introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Judith Slater, and as you say, Jenna, I've been in Jamaica for the last 4 years as High Commissioner.
And you take your leave very soon.
I take my leave in the middle of September, shortly after the elections.
What will you miss most about waking up in Jamaica?
Oh gosh, the weather. I mean, I love the early morning sort of cool but sunshine, and I do a lot of sport, and I tend to do that in the early morning. And the bird song, even in central Kingston, at the High Commission compound, which you're familiar with. I think we've got over 20 bird species just on that compound. It's absolutely beautiful. So those are the things, immediate things that I'll miss. Going back to the UK, the weather contrast, the light as well. It's not just about the temperature, it's about the light. Mm-hmm. That's something I do find difficult in London, is the greyness. It is often quite grey. Of course, we find our colour in other ways in London.
If you could pack one thing from Jamaica into your suitcase besides rum and coffee, what would it be?
I think it would be probably a lifetime supply, either avocados or bananas, because the bananas are just like a completely different fruit here. The flavour that bursts out of a banana here. Because I love mangoes, but I think those are the two. I think I absolutely adore your enormous avocados and also your beautiful, beautiful bananas. So they'll be the two things. Because of course I can buy those things in London, but the profile is just completely different.
Well, that is a fact. I'm a mango fanatic myself. Not a mango fanatic, but I love mangoes. Have you gotten used to Jamaicans' sense of humor?
I think so. I hope so.
Any phrase or moment that made you laugh out loud?
Gosh, that's a tough one. Can't think of one particular instance. I still find it a little bit frustrating because my patois is not as good as it should be. So often there'll be a joke, and then when it gets to the punchline, I don't understand it because the person lapses into more patois.
Which Jamaican event or festival did you enjoy the most?
That's easy.
Whether it's
Calabash.
That's
easy. Champs though, champs, if that counts. Does champs count?
Of course, champs count.
I think on a sporting front it's definitely champs, and on a cultural front it's definitely Calabash.
What is it about Calabash that you liked so much that you will remember about that
Well, the
event?
setting is obviously second to none. The beautiful sea right behind. The friendliness of it, the fact that it's free. People can come, there's no entry fee. The fact that the writers are always easy to get alongside, and they'll sign autographs and talk to people. I think the fact that it's kept relatively small, I think that's the nature of the location, and the accommodation means that it doesn't get out of hand and too big, so it can remain quite intimate. And of course the calibre of the people that come, the quality, and the fact that there's usually, and we sponsored it this year, so we were instrumental in this slightly, but there's usually a good array of people with a British connection. And it's just a kind of underscoring of the strength of the British Jamaican diaspora, because a lot of these people their artistic juices are flowing as a result of experience in both those quite different cultures, and that's a kind of the fusion of those two, I think, really comes to the fore at Calabash.
If you had to describe Jamaica in 3 words, what would they be?
Wow. Vibrant, unique. What's another one? Brilliant. I mean, outstanding. I love the competitive nature of Jamaicans because I'm very competitive myself. And so I love that whatever it is that Jamaicans turn their hand to, they're very competitive at it and become very good at it quite fast. And obviously you have your track and field, but there are other sports in which you excel, even though you don't have a huge number of people doing them. And even swimming, whatever you turn your hand to, there will be people who rise to the top because there's that independent spirit and that drive to succeed that Jamaicans seem to possess, which is I really enjoy. I was really following, I was really following Jaden Hibbert with the triple jump because I was at Champs when he literally he jumped into a different sphere, and I think it was very shortly afterwards, if not with that jump, set the under-20 world record. But of course, these 4 athletes have now signed for Turkey, which I was very surprised by. But I will still follow his career. And we were just talking before the interview, we'd all love to see Kishane Thompson win the 100 at either the Worlds or the Olympics or both. Because I think the way he handles losing by 5 thousandths of a second to Noah Lyles he handled that brilliantly. He took it on the chin, and it was a fantastic silver medal. So, imagine losing something by 5 thousandths of a second. I can't even imagine. You always feel like they should have shared it.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Was there a moment you truly felt at home in Jamaica?
I feel at home quite a lot of the time, actually. I love swimming. I love sea swimming. I feel very much at home doing kind of longer swims in the sea. I love the fact that there are, touch wood, you don't have sharks or things that are going to eat you in the sea, so you can literally swim out and just really enjoy, looking at the fish. We, as I think you probably know, the UK's put some money into trying to help the organisations that are trying to restore the coral, which was affected by the bleaching event with the temperature of the sea rising. But there's still plenty of beautiful fish to look at. It'd be wonderful to think that in, another generation that they'll have come back to the levels that they used to be at if we can get climate change under control.
So what advice would you give to someone visiting Jamaica for the first time?
Oh, get out and about. Do not cower in your hotel. Get out and about. You do not need to stay behind the walls of an all-inclusive hotel. There's so much to see, and the friendliness of the people if you go into the hills. I would recommend going into the hills and go hiking, because that's a whole nother side of Jamaica that an awful lot of tourists never see, because it's, the roads are not that great getting up there, and the trails are not particularly well marked. But once you kind of get over that, you are in your own little world, and the people are always extremely friendly, and I've really enjoyed that aspect of my time here. I think I've come to understand better the challenges of being a small island developing country, and the things like climate change, and how much that is affecting Jamaica and other small islands. This is the first time I've worked in a country as small as Jamaica. So I came from Turkey, which is a huge country, and I've worked in India, and I've worked in the United States, and I've worked. The only other really small country I've worked in is Singapore, but Singapore is very different from Jamaica. So I think I've learned a lot about how you are constantly affected by what's going on in the rest of the world, and you have a limited ability to influence that as a small island.
Who in Jamaica surprised you the most in terms of their kindness, talent, or leadership?
Surprised me the most? I think I'm quite impressed always by this. You've come across young activists who are very, take themselves very seriously and take their work very seriously. I remember before COP26 that was in Glasgow, meeting some youngsters who are going to be going, representing, I think they're called Young Climate sort of Advocates for Jamaica. Really impressive, really impressive. How much they learned at a young age about the topic, and how, because it's existential for Jamaica. So they were very impressive, and also I find some on both sides of the aisle, the young politicians, the youngsters who are interested in politics and in the youth wings of the two parties are also really impressive, and again the future looks bright for Jamaica.
If you were to tell someone back in the UK about Jamaicans, what would you highlight first?
They're quite forthright, I think is the word I would use. So you will be able to engage in a pretty lively discussion quite quickly. They're not shy. I don't find Jamaicans to be shy in the main, and proud of they're very patriotic and proud of their island and what it's achieved. And Jamaicans definitely punch above their weight, I would say, on the world stage. I mean, we all know that, don't we? The brand Jamaica is so well recognised, probably more so than any other country of a similar size, I would say.
Do you feel you've become a little bit Jamaican yourself after 4 years here?
I think so, yes, yeah. I would hope so. What do I use? I say things are irie. Yeah, I support Jamaica in sports. Unless they're competing against the UK, I support Jamaica. So if there's a 100-metre race and there's no Brits in it, I'll support the Jamaicans. And that's a good sign. I always think with me, that's a good sign. You know, if you're supporting the sporting teams of the country, then you've definitely become a little bit Jamaican.
Where's your next assignment and what excites you most about it?
Well, I don't know what my long-term assignment is going to be yet, but my short-term assignment, as I understand it, is I'm going to be back in London working on the UK Caribbean Ministerial Forum, which we're hoping to host towards the end of this year. So I'll be still using my contacts and my experience and my knowledge of the Caribbean to try to make that as big a success as possible.
How long do you plan to stay connected to Jamaica after leaving?
Oh, forever. It's a lifetime. It's a lifelong thing. It's not a choice.
Will we ever see you back in Jamaica, maybe as a visitor, retiree, or honorary Jamaican?
I think so, definitely. I think I'll be back for Calabash. I think I'll be back for Champs. I'd love to come back when the stadium is renovated and it's hosting a really big World Championships or similar athletics meet. And I've never played White Witch, which is the golf course, which has not been open for most of the time I've been here. So that's another bucket list thing that I want to do.
Nice. Looking back, if you could do one more thing before leaving Jamaica, what would it be?
Visit some more schools. I mean, I do enjoy visiting schools. And of course, I'm looking forward to, I will be able to do, which is to get out and about on election day and see democracy at work. Now, I think Jamaica doesn't make enough of the fact that, well, not that Jamaica doesn't make enough of, but, you know, the number of countries that are vibrant, real, genuine democracies is diminishing around the world, which is, you know, which is not good. Jamaica is definitely one that is a vibrant democracy, and I'm looking forward to seeing that in action and everybody getting out and about, all the colours and the excitement on the 3rd of September. I think it's going to be really exciting.
What legacy do you hope to leave behind in Jamaica?
I would love the National Stadium. I've mentioned that a few times. I would really love for that to be, because I believe I've been, you know, to some extent instrumental in getting it to where it is now. I think that would be a wonderful thing to be associated with. And I think, you know, I do believe that we've taken the relationship to another level, and I hope that my successor manages to take it to that next level again, in terms of the relationships of trust, and you know, we are frank and honest with each other, and we have these load-bearing relationships that I mentioned. I think I'd like to think that I'm leaving it in a better place than it was when I arrived.